Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sahih Al-Bukhari, the book of knowledge, Hadith number 81. Narrated by Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu that I will narrate to you a hadith and none other than me will tell you this hadith after me. That I heard Rasulullah saying from among the portents of the hour or the following. Number 1. Religious knowledge will decrease by the death of religious learned men. Number 2. Religious ignorance will prevail. Number 3. There will be prevalence of open illegal sexual intercourse. Number 4. Women will increase in number and men will decrease in number, so much so that 50 women will be looked after by one man. Hadith number 82. Narrated by Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Rasulullah said, while I was sleeping, I saw that a cup full of milk was brought to me, and I drank my fill till I noticed that the milk its sweetness coming out of my nails. Then I gave the remaining milk to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The companions of the Prophet asked, so what have you interpreted about this dream? Rasulullah replied, it's religious knowledge. Hadith number 83. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Rasulullah stopped for a while near the Jimar at Mina during his last Hajj for the people, and they were asking him questions. A man came and said, I forgot and got my head shaved before slaughtering the hadi, sacrificing animal. So the Prophet ﷺ replied, there is no harm, go and do the slaughtering now. Then another person came and said, I forgot and slaughtered the camel before Rami, throwing up pebbles at the Jamra. The Prophet ﷺ replied, do the Rami now and there is no harm. The narrated added, so on that day when the Prophet ﷺ was asked about anything as regards the ceremonies of Hajj performed before or after its due time, his reply was that do it now and there is no harm. Hadith number 84. Narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu that somebody said to the Prophet ﷺ during his last Hajj, I did the slaughtering before doing the Rami. The Prophet ﷺ beckoned with his hand and said, there is no harm in that. Then another person said, I got my head shaved before offering the sacrifice. The Prophet ﷺ beckoned with his hand saying, there is no harm in that. Hadith number 85. Narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said, religious knowledge will be taken away by the death of religious scholars. Ignorance in religion and applications will appear, and Hajj will increase. It was asked, that what is Hajj, O Rasulullah ﷺ? So he replied by beckoning with his hand, indicating it is killing. Hadith number 86. Narrated by Asma radiallahu anha, I came to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha while she was praying and said to her, what has happened to the people? So she pointed out towards the sky. I looked towards the mosque and saw the people offering the prayer. Aisha radiallahu anha said, Subhanallah. I said to her, is there a sign? She nodded with her head, meaning, yes. I too then stood for the prayer till I became nearly unconscious, and later on I poured water on my head. After the prayer, the Prophet ﷺ praised and glorified Allah, and then said, just now at this place I have seen what I have never seen before, including paradise and hell. No doubt it has been inspired to me that you will put to be trials in your graves, and these trials will be like the trials of Masih ad-Dajjal, or nearly like it. The sub-narrator is not sure which expression Asma used. You will be asked, what do you know about this man? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, then the faithful believer or Asma said a similar word will reply, he is Muhammad ﷺ, who had come to us with clear evidences and guidance, and so we accepted his teachings and followed him. And he is Muhammad and he will repeat it thrice. Then the angel will say to him, "Sleep in peace, as we have come to know that you were a faithful believer." On the other hand, a hypocrite or a doubtful person will reply, "I do not know, but I heard the people saying something, and so I said it the same." Hadith number 87, narrated by Abu Jamrah radiallahu anhu, that I was an interpreter between the people and Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. Once Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that a delegation of the tribe of Abdul Qais came to the Prophet ﷺ, who asked them, "Who are the people, or who are the delegates?" Then they replied, "We are from the tribe of Rabia." Then the Prophet ﷺ said to them, "Welcome, O people," or said, "A delegation of Abdul Qais, neither will you have disgrace nor will you regret." So then they said, "We have come to you from a distant place, and there is the tribe of the infidels of Mudar intervening between you and us, and we cannot come to except in the sacred month. So please order us to do something good religious deeds, and that we may also inform our people whom we have left behind at home, and that we may enter paradise by acting on them." Then the Prophet ﷺ ordered them to do 4 things and forbade them from 4 things. He ordered them to believe in Allah alone, the Honorable, the Majestic, and said to them, "Do you know what is meant by believing in Allah alone?" They replied, "Allah and His Rasul know better." Thereupon the Prophet ﷺ said, "That means to testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and that Muhammad is His Rasul, to utter prayers perfectly, to pay zakah, to observe fast during the month of Ramadan, and to pay al-khums, 1/5 of the booty, to be given in Allah's cause." Then he forbade them 4 things, namely ad-duba, hantam, muzaffat, and an-nakir or mukyar. These were the names of pots in which alcoholic drinks used to be prepared. So the Prophet ﷺ further said, "Memorize these instructions and tell them to the people who you have left behind." Hadith number 88, narrated by Abdullah bin Abi Mu'allik radiallahu anhu, that Uqba bin al-Haris said that he had married the daughter of Abi Ahab bin Aziz. Later on, a woman came to him and said, "I have suckled, nursed Uqba and the woman who had married his wife at my breast." So Uqba said to her, "Neither I knew that you have suckled, nursed me, nor did you tell me." Then he rode over to see Rasulullah ﷺ at Medina and asked him about it. Rasulullah ﷺ said, "How can you keep her as a wife when it has been said that she is your foster sister?" Then Uqba divorced her and she married another man. Hadith number 89, narrated by Umar radiallahu anhu, that my Ansari neighbor from Bani Umayyah bin Zayd, who used to live at Awali al-Madinah and used to visit the Prophet ﷺ by turns. He used to go one day and I used to go on another day. When I went, I used to bring the news of that day regarding the divine inspiration in other things, and when he was gone, he used to do the same for me. Once my Ansari friend, in his turn on returning from the Prophet ﷺ, knocked violently at my door and asked if I was there. I became very horrified and came out to him. He said, "Today is a great thing has happened." I then went to Hafsa radiallahu anha and saw her weeping. I asked her, "Did Allah Rasul divorce you all?" She replied, "I do not know." Then I entered upon the Prophet ﷺ and said while standing, "Have you divorced your wives?" The Prophet ﷺ replied in the negative. On what I said, "Allahu Akbar." Hadith number 90, narrated by Abu Masud al-Ansari anhu, that once a man said to Rasulullah ﷺ that, "Ya Rasulullah, I may not attend the compulsory congregational prayer because so and so the Imam prolongs the prayer when he leads us for it." The narrator added, "I never saw the Prophet ﷺ more furious in giving advice than he was on that day." The Prophet ﷺ said, "O people, some of you make others dislike good deeds, the prayers. So whoever leads the people in prayer should shorten it, because among them there are the sick, the weak, and the needy, having some jobs to do." Hadith number 91, narrated by Zayd bin Khalid al-Juhani radiyallahu anhu, that a man asked the Prophet ﷺ about the picking up of a lukata, fallen, lost thing. The Prophet ﷺ replied, recognize and remember its tying material in its container and make public announcement about it for 1 year. Then utilize it but give it to its owner if he comes back. Then the person asked about the lost camel, and that the Prophet ﷺ got angry and his cheeks or his face became red, and he said, you have no concern with it, as it has its water container and its feet, and it will reach water and eat the leaves of trees till its owner finds it. So the man then asked about the lost sheep. The Prophet ﷺ replied, it is either for you or for your brother, another person, or for the wolf.